What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again doing my first top 10 video. As I said in my channel update for the month of August, I would be ranking the 13 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe based on my favorite movies in the MCU. And just so you guys know, Doctor Strange will not be on this list. Why? Because it's not out yet. How I'm going to be ranking these movies is as follows. I'm going to be doing my top 10 list, and the 3 other movies are honorable mentions. They didn't make the list, but I still think they're good and worth honoring. Starting off with my 3 honorable mentions. The first one is at my 13th spot, and it's a sequel, and that is Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2, in my opinion, is a very fun, action-packed movie. It's not a great movie. I think everybody agrees with me on this. I just felt like it rushed itself way too much. I still enjoyed the action in it. Robert Downey Jr. kills it as always as Iron Man, and the villain's completely forgettable. At my number 12 spot is The Incredible Hulk. I think I saw it like 4 years ago. I barely even remember it, but I thought it was a lot of fun. I didn't find it great as other people did. Edward Norton did a great job as Bruce Banner. William Hurt killed it as Thunderbolt Ross. But just the story is it's not amazing. It's just generic and it's bland. It really is. My last honorable mention at number 11, you guys are going to be shocked, but it's Iron Man 3, directed by Shane Black. This movie, Shane Black directed it, the humor is great. It's just the story. Why? I feel as a Marvel movie it does not work. As a Shane Black movie it totally worked. It didn't work for me. Now the real fun begins, guys. My top 10 favorite movies in the MCU. Coming in at number 10 is the sequel that I really enjoyed. The critics didn't really seem to like this one. But number 10 is Thor: The Dark World. I had a fun-ass time with Thor: The Dark World. The things I really liked about this movie was Chris Hemsworth. He did great as Thor. Tom Hiddleston crushed it as always as Loki. I thought the humor was very consistent and the action sequences were badass. My only complaints with the movie were that Malekith was a completely forgettable and wasted villain. He really didn't do anything. Natalie Portman just plays that damsel distress as always. And Kat Dennings, I really do not like her. I do not find her funny at all. But overall, this movie was a lot of fun. Pretty ironic, guys, because coming in at number 9 is Thor. The first Thor movie, which came out in 2011, directed by Kenneth Branagh. You may know him as Gilderoy Lockhart in Harry Potter. I thought he did a good job directing this movie. He had a very tough time making Thor a lovable Avenger. He absolutely did. Hemsworth kills it, Hiddleston kills it, and this movie had great action and it was really funny. So, Thor, it did surprise me. Coming in at number 8 is an Avenger that no one really likes, but I really love this Avenger. He's my favorite Avenger, and that movie is Captain America: The First Avenger. No pun intended. Yes, this movie also came out in 2011, directed by Joe Johnston, who directed Jurassic Park 3 and Jumanji. This movie was actually kick-ass. It killed it. I enjoyed this movie. It does have flaws, but Chris Evans kills it as Captain America. Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull was a badass villain. My problems with the movie did evolve around the story. It's pretty cliche, but the action still made it a lot more entertaining. So yeah, First Avenger was badass. Coming in at number 7 is Avengers Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie. Joss Whedon returning to direct, and a humongous cast, including new ones: James Spader as Ultron, Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, and Aaron Taylor Johnson as Quicksilver. I enjoyed this movie. The big problems I had was that Ultron wasn't the villain I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be this big, menacing presence that cannot be stopped, but he just whines like a brat, and he's like the evil version of Iron Man. And that's what really disappointed me. But the action is still great. It's badass. All these characters have fantastic chemistry. It's not even close to as good as the first one, but it is fun. Coming in at number 6 is the other Marvel movie that came out last year that surprised the shit out of me, and that is AntMan. Not directed by Edgar Wright, directed by Peyton Reed. Edgar Wright left this movie because it wasn't his type of thing, but Peyton Reed steps in, and man, did he surprise me with this movie. This movie was like a straight up heist movie, like an Ocean's 11. It was badass and funny as hell. Paul Rudd totally surprised me as Scott Lang. Michael Douglas was fantastic as Hank Pym. Evangeline Lilly was kick-ass. And the only problem I really had was Corey Stoll as the villain. Yeah, he's just a wasted villain, just like Jeff Bridges in Iron Man. But this movie was badass. I loved Ant-Man. Which leads perfectly with Jeff Bridges into my number 5 spot. That's right, the very first movie in the MCU. At number 5 is Iron Man. It's the movie that started it all. It started off the MCU absolutely perfectly. This movie was close to perfect. Robert Downey Jr. just nailed Tony Stark. The action's incredible. Just the only problem I had was Jeff Bridges. He's pretty generic and not that exciting as a villain. But this is just close to perfect. Coming in at number 4, this is a movie that, just like Ant-Man, totally surprised me. It came out a couple years ago, and you know what it is, Guardians of the Galaxy. James Gunn, the man who directed a Scooby-Doo movie, I think, directed this movie absolutely perfectly. All of these characters are extremely likable. Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, Zoe Saldana as Gamora, Batista, Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon, and Vin Diesel as a talking tree Groot. Everything about this movie entertained me from start to finish. I was never dull. It was amazing. Just the only problem was Ronan the Accuser, the villain, completely wasted. I absolutely love Guardians of the Galaxy. The top 3 now, guys. This is where it gets intense. Before I say them, I had an absolutely difficult time naming my top 3. These 3 are absolutely amazing superhero movies and just so hard to pick a favorite. I love all 3 of them, but based on my enjoyment of how great of movies they were, this is where I rank them. Coming in at number 3 is a pretty iconic superhero movie. If you've never seen this, you must be living under a rock. It's The Avengers. Now, I must say, I did not see this movie in theaters. I know. When I first saw this movie, I was completely blown away at the story Joss Whedon created, setting up all these iconic Marvel heroes into one movie. It is so iconic. It's a moment in movie history that everybody is going to remember. The assembling of the Avengers. It's just completely badass and entertaining from start to finish, and there was not a part of this movie that lagged at all. Coming in at number 2, I know this is a really hard decision, but I love both these movies, you guys know, but number 2 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I must say, guys, this movie is what made me want to go back to the movie theaters. I have not been to the theater in at least 12 years. This movie, Winter Soldier, made me go back to watching movies in the theater. This movie blew my freaking mind. It's just the action sequences are some of the best I've ever seen. This is the type of action that you wouldn't see in superhero movies. Maybe in like a Bourne movie or something. Just this movie is astounding. The Russo brothers have made a masterpiece of superhero movies. And at number 1, you guys know what it is. Captain America: Civil War. This is interesting, guys. With Civil War, this was the only Marvel movie that I have seen this movie 5 times in the theater. 5 times. The other movies, I have not seen it that many times. This movie entertained me so much. It kept making me wanting to see it again in the theater over and over again. In my opinion, I think this is an improvement over The Winter Soldier simply because of a lot of things. The Russo brothers really did an outstanding job of balancing all of these things. There were so many characters in this movie, so many, and each and every single character got their moment to shine. The story was incredible. The action was mind-blowingly amazing. The airport scene alone is the best fight scene I have ever seen in a superhero movie, and it will definitely stay that way. And they also had to introduce new characters. Spider-Man, Tom Holland blew my mind as him, and Black Panther was freaking awesome. Just everything about this movie blew me away. And just the ending of this movie, I got so much chills watching it. The last fight between Steve, Tony, and Bucky is the most heartbreaking, trenching fight scene I have ever seen in a comic book movie. Guys, I can't say anything else. Civil War is the best Marvel movie in my personal opinion. And that's it, guys. That's my ranking of the 13 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What did you guys think of my list? And what would you guys rank the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies? What's your guys' top 10 and your 3 honorable mentions? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys as always for watching this video, and if you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe today for more content. All my social media links are in the description down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!